Hi, it's Jeannie. I want to show you how I decided to use this Be Humble and Kind transfer from Chalk Couture. The first thing I did was cut up all of the elements on the transfer because I'm not going to use all of them. I'm going to use the Be, the hive rolls, the Be out of Be Happy, and I'm going to use the honeycomb at the bottom. The surface that I'm using, I made this. I made this out of 3/4 inch plywood. I sanded it down very well, especially the edges that were raw. And then I painted on a couple of coats of blackboard paint, sanding between each coat so it's nice and smooth. And then I added a layer of wax, which makes it easy to chalk over top of that. And I let all of that cure for a couple of days before I use this chalkboard. I decided to apply all of the words, all of the elements of this transfer that I'm going to be using the same color on. I'm going to use white chalk paste for hive rolls, for the word be out of Be Happy, and humble and kind. Those are all going to be white. So I am lining everything up to make sure everything's going to fit the way I want it to fit. Make sure there's enough room for the Be. And centering the humble and kind. Yep, making sure there's enough room for my Be. Now my Be could either be cut off on the one end. I kind of like that look, or I can tilt it to fit the whole Be in. We'll see how that goes. I have to remember that I'm only going to be chalking the word Be out of Be Happy. So I need to remember not to chalk happy. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world because I could easily erase it, wipe it off with a wet towel. But I don't want to use the word happy. I want it to say hive rolls, be humble and kind, and then have the Be on the side and the honeycomb at the bottom. So I've placed on the white parts of the transfer and smoothed them out, making sure there is no air bubbles, reminding myself not to chalk over happy, so I'm putting my finger there to remind me, because I know me. So I smooth out the chalk paste, remove the excess, and put it back in the jar. Perfect. I'm going to lift that transfer off, put it into the water that's off to the side, and get to work on the other two parts of the transfer. The hive rolls, again, applying some chalk paste with a squeegee, smoothing it out over the open areas of the transfer, removing the excess and putting it back in the jar. Now I can remove that part of the transfer and get it over into the pan of water before that chalk dries. Nice. Again, making sure I have room for the Be. Do I want it tilted? Do I just want to cut half of it off? Decisions. Should I move the humble and kind over? No, it's good where it is. So again, back to the process of applying the chalk paste with the squeegee, smoothing it out over the silk screened areas. This is so easy. And then remove the excess. You just have a thin layer. I think the thinner the better. I'm going to grab a larger squeegee to make this go a little faster. Scrape off the excess and put it back in the jar. It's amazing how far a jar of chalk paste goes. Now before that chalk has a chance to dry in the transfer, I'm going to lift that off, remove it from side to side so as not to stretch it, and get it in the pan of water for cleaning later. So all of the white parts are done, and I want these parts to dry before I go sticking on other parts of the transfer. There's room for the honeycomb down there at the bottom. I'm not going to be overlaying this, so I don't need to wait for the Humble and Kind to dry because it's not going to be touching that. But I want to do something a little different with this part of the transfer. I think of honeycombs as being yellow and golden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some yellow. I'm going to give this a quick stir and add water if I need to. Thin it out a little bit. This seems okay. And I'm going to put on some yellow. And then smooth that out over the silk screened areas of the transfer. And then remove the excess and put it back in the jar. But before I remove this transfer, I think I want to give it a little bit of depth and dimension, a little more interest. Oh, I've got a couple spots of yellow on the board that I'll wipe off quick before they dry. But I'm going to grab some orange chalk paste, and a small squeegee. Oh, this is thick. I think I need to stir this and add some water. Now it seems fine. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the orange to just certain areas, just not the whole section of that honeycomb, but just sporadically over parts of it and spread it out, just to give it some shadowing and dimension with the orange chalk paste. I think I'm liking how this looks. That's the look I'm after. Okay, now for the bee. Do I want it straight up and down or at an angle? I decided to go with the angle to fit the whole bee in. And I'm going to speed this up here for you, but I decided to use the yellow chalk paste for the bee, so I'm just going to squeegee on that yellow chalk paste over the open areas, smooth it out with a squeegee, and remove the excess. And put it back in the jar. Then I'll remove that transfer and get it into the water. Oh, love it. So cute. What do you think? Now I'm going to drill a hole in each corner so that I can string some black and white ribbon through for a hanger. I love how this looks. Really cute.